The science behind why some individuals love animals et al. Couldn't care less. The recent quality of designer dogs, cats, micro pigs, and different pets could appear to counsel that pet keeping is not any over a cult. Indeed, it's usually assumed that pet square measure a Western simulation, a weird relic of the operating animals unbroken by communities of the past. About half the households in UK alone embody some reasonably pet, roughly 10 meters of these square measure dogs, whereas cats form up another 10 meters. Pets value time and cash, and these days bring very little within the manner of fabric advantages. However, throughout the 2008 money crisis, dispersal on pets remained nearly unaffected. That suggests that for many house owners, pets don't seem to be a luxury, however an integral and deeply wanted a part of the family. Some individuals square measure into pets, however, whereas others merely aren't interested. Why is this the case? It's extremely probable that our want for the corporate of animals truly goes back tens of thousands of years and has contained a vital half in our evolution. If so, then genetic science would possibly make a case for why a love of animals are a few things some individuals simply don't get. The urge to bring animals into our homes is thus widespread that it's tempting to think about it as a universal feature of attribute. However, not all societies have a practice of pet keeping. Even within the West, there square measure many people that feel no specific affinity for animals, whether or not pets or no. The pet keeping habit usually runs in families. This was once ascribed to kids returning to imitate their parents' lifestyles after they leave home. However, recent analysis has urged that it additionally contains a genetic basis. Some individuals, no matter their upbringing, appear susceptible to hunt out the corporate of animals, others less thus. So the genes that promote pet keeping could also be distinctive to humans, however they're not universal, suggesting that within the past some societies or people, however not all, thrived because of an spontaneous rapport with animals. Pet DNA. The desoxyribonucleic acid of today's domesticated animals reveals that every species separated from its wild counterpart between 15,000 and 5,000 years agone, within the late Paleolithic and Neolithic periods. Yes, this was additionally after we started breeding placental mammal. However, it's hard to ascertain however this might have achieved if those initial dogs, cats, Bos taurus and pigs were treated as mere commodities. If this were thus, the technologies accessible are inadequate to forestall unwanted interbreeding of domestic and wild stock, that within the early stages would have had prepared access to one another, endlessly diluting the genes for tameness and therefore retardation, more domestication to a crawl, or perhaps reversing it. Also, periods of famine would even have inspired the slaughter of the breeding stock, domestically wiping out the tame genes entirely. But if a minimum of a number of these early stock had been treated as pets, physical containment among human habitations would have prevented wild males from having their manner with domesticated females. Special status, as afforded to some extant barbarian pets, would have stifled their consumption as food. Unbroken, isolated in these ways in which, the new semi-domesticated animals are ready to evolve aloof from their ancestors' wild ways in which, and become the pliable beasts we all know these days. The exact same genes that these days dispose some individuals to require on their initial cat or dog would have unfolded among those early farmers. Teams including individuals with sympathy for animals and an understanding of husbandry would have flourished at the expense of these, while not, WHO would have had to still trust searching to get meat. Why doesn't everybody feel constant way? In all probability as a result of at some purpose in history the choice methods of stealing stock or enslaving their human carers became viable. There's a final twist to the current story. Recent studies have shown that fondness for pets goes hand in hand concernedly for the nature. It looks that folks may be roughly divided into people who feel very little affinity for animals or the setting, and people WHO square measure susceptible to thrill in each, adopting pet keeping mutually of the few accessible shops in today's urbanized society. As such, pets could facilitate United States of America to reconnect with the globe of nature from that we tend to evolved.